Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. We are back. We are here. Rah, rah, rah. You know how it go. This is Plugged with Mahli and Joe, the Mental Warriors, with our brother Zakaria. We are here another week. We are alive, blessed to be here because, boy, what's going on in the world, man, listen, I don't know, man. I don't know. Some people saying these are the last days, man. These are the last days. I don't know what to say. But the topic of the day, does the end justify any means, right? Being that we're talking about the last days, these are the end days, man. Let's talk about it, man, right? Does everything that we're doing, everything that we're accomplishing, everything we're trying to do, is it justifiable? You know, what are we doing this for? You know what I mean? What is going on around across the seas over there in Russia and Ukraine and all that? But first and foremost, we're going to pay homage, of course, and do our current events, of course, and the main current event today is what's happening across seas. So there go my man Joe. Holla at the people, Joe.
What's good, everybody? Another day, another week, another time to tell our story.
Yes, sir. And my brother Zakaria, the light-skinned one.
What's good? What's good, people?
All right, all right. You know what I mean? That's my light-skinned brother Zakaria. You know, we that's what we coined him as right now. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Of course, we're on platforms such as Amazon Music, Pandora, Stitcher, Podchaser, TuneIn, Reasons Podcast, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Anchor.fm, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Mixcloud, iTunes Podcast, the Evening Rush Network.com, and download the Evening Rush Network app, available on both iOS and Android. Good night to our producer, always checking in, always watching the show, one of our biggest fans. I guess she's not only the producer, she's our biggest fan. Sometimes maybe our only fan, but hey, guess what? We're gonna work on that, right? We're gonna get out there to the world and let people, you know, see what we got going on, right? All right. So, what's going on this week with you, Zakari? I know you're gonna say the same old, man.
Yep, the same old, man. But I mean, got some new projects in the works, man, and it's taking up a lot of my time during the day, which is a good thing because you know it's going to lead to something fruitful. So,
okay, my main man Joe, what was going on with your week?
I had some time off from the 9 to 5, but I focused on my other moneymaker, you know, trying to get my business up and going. So spent a lot of time, you know, and then getting my house in order too. So it's always a little bit of everything. So very busy, but it's a good busy. And I love it.
Right. Once upon a time, it was a stressful situation. Now you're in the Piku situation. That's a wonderful thing, man. It's a wonderful thing, man. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing, actually, to be honest with you. Especially in this day and time, like I said, with all the uncertainty going on in the world, to be able to just come home and be able to relax and have peace of mind is very important right these days, you know. My week is the same. Like I said, like I said to Zakaria, same old. It's the same old with me as well. Baller, Big Apple Leadership Academy for the Arts is always doing things, always doing more things. We're trying to get funding, so that we could continue to give this programming out here for free. The kids had a little soiree this past Friday, a little cake and cake cookies and stuff like that. And then there was a dance workshop as well on Sunday. Didn't get the turnout we might have wanted, but at the same, I mean, the Friday turnout was great. The Sunday turnout, we didn't get it how we wanted, but we're going to keep throwing those type of workshops out there just to broaden people's minds and get them doing different things and open them up to different cultures and, you know, just open them up to different things about themselves. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So you know what we like to do. Everybody know what we like to do. First and foremost, before we start kicking in about these topics or anything about the topic of the day, what we like to do is we are either going to give the flowers out or we're going to pay homage. So this week we paying homage. Last week we gave flowers. This week we pay homage. So flowers is for those who are still with us, and we just want to give them a shout out and let them know that we're thinking about them and their impact on our culture. And those who are paying homage to is those that are no longer with us anymore, but their impact still need to be recognized. So first and foremost, always started out is my man Joe.
Here I go, coming up to bat. Well, this gentleman is a little personal to me because if it wasn't for his show, I probably wouldn't have a voice and speak the way that I do. And he was one of my earliest memories of, if you want to call it Afrocentric or being woke, as the young youths like to say. So the gentleman I'm paying homage to this week is the legendary Gil Noble. Gil Noble was an American television reporter and interviewer. He was also the producer and host of the Sunday weekly television show called Like It Is. And that show came on for so many years. That was my earliest memories of having issues when it concerning the African Americans and the African American diaspora. Was Gil Noble. He was born in Harlem, raised by Jamaican immigrants. And after graduating from City College, he worked for Union Carbide. And then eventually what happened is he became a journalist for WLIB radio. After reporting on the 1967 riots in Newark, New Jersey, he got noticed and started Like It Is a few months later in 1968. And from that point on, every Sunday, he was the person that we would go to for our issues and for exclusive interviews in regards to Black society during the time. Zakaria, there's an interview that you always refer to, a Bob Marley interview. And I believe Gil Noble was the one who produced the interview. And wow. 80, right before Bob Marley had passed away. So, he had interviews with some of the greats, Malcolm. He had interviews with Adam Clayton Powell, like all these people before they died. And he did some really good work on it. So anybody who has access to any old Like It Is episodes, go watch it. And you'll see that it relates to a lot of what's happening today. So paying homage to Gil Noble, your work will never be forgotten, sir.
Wow. And that's dope. That's pretty dope that he inspired you to, to be here today. You know what I mean? I want to give Gil Noble a shout out for inspiring you to even be, who you are today, brother. Because, it's double fold. Not only do you have your contribution here within the show, but just in my life in general, dealing in my family and stuff like that. So the positivity just, never ends with you. So give a shout out to Gil Noble for that inspiration that he gave you. You know what I mean? But what we're going to do is we're going to move straight on ahead because my man Zakaria got a doozy for you. He don't take this paying homage or giving flowers lightly. If y'all know, he does not pay. He does not give. So I had to start stepping up my game a little bit. I think I'm gonna start stepping up my game just a little bit, but that's only if Zakaria leave us any time. So Zakaria.
I don't know, man. I don't know. No, I got you. I'm gonna keep this one short. Yeah, but this one deserves for the public to go and do their own research. As we know, history has been whitewashed, man, and it's been washed by the ruling empire since the days of way back from Egypt. But they had different agendas back then, and ever since Rome, it's been a real whitewashing going on. We're dealing with the ancestors today. So who I'm bringing today is none other than the legend, some will call him the myth, who is John Hanson, and he is refutably the first president of the United States. The first Black president of the United States, who was supposed to be, actually not the first president, the third president. And this is 5 presidents before George Washington, because our history tells us there were 8, actually. But it was before it was called the United States in Congress, assembled by the Constitution in 1777. So before that, this said John Hanson, who some are calling a myth because they like to whitewash history. I'm not so sure if it was a myth or not, but I think it deserves light. He was a member of the Continental Congress. Some say he was not. So, some people watching this may say, of course not. How are they going to let a Black president become president in that time? Slavery was still going on. Well, here's the story. He took office as just as the Revolutionary War ended. And almost immediately, the troops demanded to be paid, as was to be expected after any long war, and there were no funds to meet the salaries. As a result, the soldiers threatened to overthrow the new government and put Washington on the throne as a monarch. But all the members of Congress ran for their lives, leaving Hansen as the only guy left running the government. So there's a reason why he was the only guy to be chosen. And according to history, he somehow managed to calm the troops down and held the country together. And he ended up sending 800 pounds of sterling silver by his brother off American soil to Washington. And so he held it down basically 5 presidents before George Washington was even thought of to be president. So look it up for yourself. Black man, a Moor is what they call him. The picture that they showing, which is the Moor, he lived a little later, and obviously there were no pictures in that time. So they're saying, well, he couldn't be him because there were no pictures. Well, look at the back of the $2 bill, and you'll see a black man sitting in the crowd back there, which is reportedly John Hansen. So, another shadow in history that's being overshadowed or by a white shadow. That is. So just giving props to John Hansen and inspiring people to look it up for yourself.
Shout out to John Hansen. Shout out. Yes. That's why I love this part, to be honest with you, is because, you get a lot of, tidbits and information that you might not have had, prior to doing this show. And that just leads me into who I'm paying homage to this week. And the reason is because I found this out this week, to be honest with you, is like, as we keep going, we look for different things. Like, I'm always looking for information, always trying to feed myself, like, all right, who else is out there that we pay homage to? Who else is out there we need to give flowers to? Because it could be, you could be so cliche and give like I said, the regular standards their flowers and pay homage to them. But nah, you want to dig deep. So I felt this one came to me. And this one is Sylvia Robinson. Sylvia Robinson. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful sister, as you can see. Okay, the first ever rap song produced was Rapper's Delight in the summer of 1979. Three Bronx rappers named the Sugar Hill Gang recorded it, and it was produced by Sugar Hill Records. Okay, we all have a little information on that, right? Correct? Got that? All right. Sylvia Robinson, the lady pictured here, she was the CEO and founder of Sugar Hill Records and the producer of Rapper's Delight. And a little later, The Message by Grandmaster Flash. Okay, y'all know about The Message. Y'all know about Rapper's Delight. If you don't, check it out. Trust me, you listen. You'll be amazed at where we came from, because that was the beginning of hip hop for me. Listen, that was it for me. By Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five in 1982. It is said that Melly Mel did not want to record the 7-minute rap song that shared brutal honesty of social issues in the city at the time, but she insisted, and she was right. Both rap songs became instant hits that made history by putting rap music created by the voiceless in the streets of New York City front and center for the rest of America. This woman started it all. This woman is responsible for the start of rap. That's something else.
Wow. I mean,
wouldn't even know that.
I also, have to go back to one of the people that Joe paid homage to one day, which was the Last Poets, because we could talk about the roots of where it started from. And I think they definitely need mention in that conversation.
Well, we would go to James Brown then too. You know
exactly. We could keep going a little further, you know what I mean? But I didn't know this, man. And I love this portion of the show as well, because I learned a lot. I never heard of Sylvia Robinson.
She had a very cool song back in the day called Pillow Talk. That was actually one of my mother's favorite songs. She used to play that song. It's very sensual and sensual. It was like a disco hit called Pillow Talk, and it sounds just like the word says, Pillow Talk. It sounds like when you hear the song, you're gonna participate in some type of pillow talk. So if you ever heard it, listen to it.
Clap it up for all those we paid homage to this week. Clap it up, Gil Noble, John Hansen, Sylvia Robinson. You guys, listen, obviously you guys, did some things that made sure that we are here. So that's very important. So, I don't really think that I don't want to be, in a sad mode right now. I mean, I wouldn't want to be, upset right now, but when you look at current events, and the one big gorilla in the room is there's a war going on outside, fellas.
Yeah.
And Russia is invading the Ukraine at this very minute, right now, as we speak, and that's pretty deep. I go into that, and it's pretty deep in the sense that right now here we are on a podcast, enjoying our freedoms, enjoying our safety, and there's somebody right now just so paranoid and don't even know if they're going to see tomorrow's sun. That's pretty deep, you know what I mean? And I just want to send the prayers out to the innocent. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I guess that's the right way to say it. Send our prayers out to the innocent and hope that this thing get resolved peacefully, because war isn't the answer at all.
Not at all.
Joe, why is Russia attacking the Ukraine?
Well, they want to destroy. Russia's intent is to destroy the state of Ukraine. Ukraine is a westward-looking democracy, and it's moving out of Moscow's orbit. So what that technically means is it's a country becoming its own, whether it's through resources, whether it's through power, whether it's through strength. And the main country that it comes from doesn't want that, because they would look at them as an enemy. So they're trying to regain the power that they once had on Ukraine when it was united with Russia. Whatever. So that's pretty much the emphasis of why the war it started, and why they're going to war with Ukraine, because they want power on what they originally had.
Zakaria, same question to you, brother. Why do you think Russia is attacking the Ukraine?
Well, I heard an analogy, and I'm gonna give it to you the best way I can, as short as possible. So basically, Russia is like the jealous ex right now, and Ukraine wants to be. She's been single for 30 some years, and she wants to continue to be single. And Russia's not having it, because you over there, out there, shaking it in the streets. And so, she's becoming more aware, or more with her democracy intact, and that's what Russia does not want. Also, Ukraine is a rich country, so when they lost the Ukraine's rulership over the Ukraine, Russia's now like, what did we just do? We shouldn't, like when Pharaoh let the children of Israel go get them back. So right about now they're fighting. What happened, why they took Chernobyl is because that's en route. That's the Russian army's clearest route to get to Belarus. So they're really shit is escalating, man. Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen, what I've heard, it's all and me, I'm just as much of a conspiracy theorist as anybody in the room. It's about resources. I'm hearing that
absolutely.
Ukraine is a big source of many resources. The resources that it takes to make the nuclear bombs that they have, and some of the resources for a lot of the foods that we're eating that we need. And I think that's why Russia is attacking, and it has a lot to do with what Zakaria was saying, where it was like, oh, okay, I want to get that, that old thing back, because it strategically is a good, it was a good place to have. Obviously, if it's just keep pouring out the resources, no.
So Russia is like Kanye, and Ukraine is like Kim Kardashian.
Right.
Let's no, man, no, we're not gonna Kanye Kim this one, man.
Don't mean to joke about it, but that's the
yeah. So that leads me to wonder. Okay, so with the resources and all this other stuff, why is the USA why is the USA seem to have gotten involved?
I mean, it goes back to I heard George Bush George Bush Jr. say back in the days, He said, "We police the world." United States has this ethnocentric idea that the world revolves around them and that they're the superpower, which, you know, they are. As you notice, I say they and not we, because at any time they want to wipe us out, they take us out too. You know, that's why when you said we had war outside, I was going to ask you which one, you know. But, you know, that's because the United States feels they want to flex on anybody that's not. See, there's a world order, man, and people will call it what they want, but there is an actual new world order, and it's to spread democracy. And that's because the elitists want to control the world by the world banking systems.
Right.
So
and through democracy, you control everything, because
exactly
democracy, the logic is always 50-50. You're always going to get 50-50 for whatever
if you're a communist, there's one rule. That's why there's so many issues with Cuba and a lot of these European countries and even African countries that go under the Cubanism schedule. You know, and America just have issues with them because they're not on board with the program.
So yeah, then, go ahead, Zakaria.
Yeah, and then, you know, it's also it's a catch-22 with this democracy thing, because, you know, everybody's supposed to have a say, but you really don't. You really don't have a say. They talk about the majority rules, but you really don't. There would be no such thing as electoral college. There would be no such thing as, you know, the way certain laws are made and it has to go through all these different circuits. They just want you to feel like you're playing a part of it, but you ain't really in the game. You know what I mean?
So over here in the USA Today, it says, why is Russia? The question is, why is Russia invading the Ukraine? So I asked, you know, Google, of course, you know, go to good old Google. One of the best inventions ever made. I ain't gonna lie, I like it. I mean, it might be bitter, you know, might be good and bad, of course, pros and cons. But listen, just to find information, and when you're looking for good information, you know what I mean, it's too easy to find bad information.
You have to cross-reference and be wary and double check and triple check, because remember, it's a conglomerate of all the biggest platforms. You know,
So why is Russia invading Ukraine? It says Putin claims the objective of the attack is to defend the Russian speakers in the Ukraine. So he's putting under the guise that there's those that's in the Ukraine side of town that's still on you know, down with the Russians. It says especially those in the two self-declared republics of Donetsk and Luhansk, which left Ukrainian control in 2014. But Ukraine has denied Moscow's claim that it's forcibly trying to take them back. And the NATO intergovernmental, well, never mind about that. But yeah, his idea is that he's basically taking back land that's owed to him, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you mean owed to him?
Like well, that used to be old Moscow. All that land old Russia now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, I mean, it's all about who takes it, right? So I mean, and we're going back to ancient times. This is nothing new. You know, they invade and they take it. You know, I mean,
so
that's what we're talking about.
I got a question for you, Joe. What is the end goal? What is the end goal for them? The benefits of this attack? Like, what do you think is the end goal for them?
To get back the land that belongs to them, or that they think belongs to them, and they're going to do any and everything they can to do it. But you disguise it as people playing victim, like those two gentlemen that you discussed. They're probably the minority of what Ukrainians are, and they're going to use that to say there are much more like them, and we got to fight for their freedoms, fight for their democracy, fight for them. And it's not that many, but you got to use democracy as a scapegoat for power and for strength, and what Russia is doing. And that's what they're doing. The end game is that they're going to get back their property, get back their land, and do anything they can to get it.
All right. So today, America has gotten involved in a sense of, we're going to send cyber attacks over to Russia, and we're going to hit them at the banking and stuff like that, money and trade and stuff like that, trade sanctions and such. I mean, I didn't get too much into detail because to me, like I said, it's a bunch of BS, both sides of the coin. Is that enough? Do you think the United States can get something out of just attacking them, in the cyber sense. Because what you have to understand is Russia could do the same thing.
I mean, sanctions never worked, man, in the past. The person that gets tired of it, like at the end of the day, you can't play with Russia, man. When it comes to nations like Russia and China, they don't need your interaction. They don't need your commerce.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So you can't threaten them with things like that. And if you want to talk about cyber war, I mean, those two countries I just mentioned have some of the brightest minds in technology. They can easily shut down the entire banking system in the U.S. So I don't think people really understand how serious this war between Russia and Ukraine is, or how serious it is, United States affiliation with it, or us getting in it or not. And I think it sounds to me, from what it looks like on my side, and who am I, to get into politics, but from in the past, what we've seen, it looks like Biden's leading us into World War III.
And me personally, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if Joe have something to say.
Well, yeah. You asked, why is America getting involved? Because they nosy. This country is nosy. This country is nosy, and they want to play superhero. They want to play superhero.
To get to that, hold on. Don't speed up. Don't speed
up. I know.
Up.
I'm not going to. But I'm saying America is nosy, and they can't do it. They got to be the big man on campus, a big woman.
I think they're scared more. I think the tactic that they use today shows that they're scared of a war with Russia, because normally they lead by aggressiveness. They lead with the heavy hand. To sit there and talk about, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pull you from the internet. Like, what? Huh? That ain't the American way. And that just goes to show to me, I think, that Putin, like I said, you ain't smacking the big bully in the yard, and you don't feel like you done been working out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, there are different ways to attack now. So cyber attack is obviously the first way to go, but you could break the country down systematically. And I guess cyber threats would be the first wave. And then if it gets anything serious, then you go to physical or, financial threats. So this is light work compared to what they can do.
Let me say something. So this is like we scratching we barely scratching the surface right here. So there's a huge agenda, like, for the entire world. We always talk about the systemic agenda here in the United States. There's an agenda for the entire world, and this population control thing is huge. So cyber war is one thing that we're going to see on the news, but what we're going to see later on is a bunch of plague outbreaks. This is what's going to happen, because there's people behind the scenes that actually, within the government agencies, that actually have the power to spread disease as a warfare. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And and later on, we're going to be looking at a change in society. This was just the beginning to prepare us. They knew they're getting ready to go to war with Russia and China soon. It's coming.
I actually, I mean, you could look it up on my Facebook feeds or what have you. And I spoke about Russia and China. I spoke about China a long time ago. I mean, I remember it was there when they hosted the Olympics that year. It was like in early, 2000, something like that. It was one of the years. And I sat there and I watched them people sit there in unison, march and do all kinds of demonstrations and whatnot. Man, I was like, hold on, how did you get that many people to do that many things at once? Like, what the? And what I was witnessing was a demonstration of how they were coming. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. There was a message there. And I'll tell you something. For me being in China is 9 months technically advanced than we are.
Yeah. Technologically
advanced. They are 9 months ahead of us. And people don't understand that. So they would easily win that war if we had one right now.
Right. Yeah. So that goes into what we're going to do is, when we have this break and go into the topic of the day, does the end justify the means? Meaning, like, whatever is Putin's end game, is it justified? Is he justified? Does he deserve to go back and get his land and we just mind our business? We can ask those questions to ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? Is this really a problem for the U.S.? You know what I mean? And if the U.S., the U.S. do get involved, what really is they getting involved about? You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, we're gonna cut off, have a break real quick, and come back with the topic of the day. Peace.
Looking to podcast shows and do not know where to start? The Evening Rush Network can help you with that. Call us at 929-441-2417 or email us at theeveningrushnetwork@gmail.com for dates and prices. We got you for all your podcast needs. The Evening Rush Network. Tune in, subscribe, and share.
And we are back, sponsored by Baller, none other, Baller Shot Callers. That is www.baller.org. That is BALAA.org. We are also on Instagram at PluggedMJ, at PluggedMJ. We are on Facebook, Plug with Mahli and Joe. Just share, like, follow us, do whatever is necessary to get this word out, because if you don't need it, somebody do. Trust me. If you don't need these words, somebody do. And topic of the day, does the end justify any means? Meaning the means about which Putin is trying to get back his little land in the Ukraine, is it justifiable? Should we mind our business, guys? Should America be minding their business right now?
Yeah, but they're not going to.
Joe,
that's what they do.
Joe, should America be minding their business?
I already spoke a little bit on this earlier. Absolutely. We got our own stuff we got to deal with.
All right. So before we dive right in, let's throw up a meme real quick. Let's do you know what I mean in a minute. You know what I mean? Let's do you know what I mean real quick. Let's go, producer extraordinaire. All right. So the meme this week, because remember, we're on Spotify, we're on different formats. That's just pure radio, right? So there's some video formats like Facebook, YouTube, and such, and etc. But what you would see if you're on YouTube, you're seeing Mount Rushmore, and instead of Mount Rushmore, you see the ancestors of the indigenous people of the land. Okay, because I'm not going to call them Indians because that's disrespectful. All right. To call the people of this land Indians is rather disrespectful, because it was actually a mistake name given to them. All right, because the guy that came over here thought he was one place and he was another. So the meme has the ancestral silhouette over the Mount Rushmore. What do you guys think about that meme, real quick?
I mean, this is a depiction of they're telling you the four founding fathers of this country is Mount Rushmore, right? But in actuality, that rock right there was actually stolen from that piece of land where that rock is on, was stolen from the indigenous people. Yeah. And they just rubbed it in their face by putting these faces of these men up here who they've been lying to, their own ancestors and the rest of the people who were brought to this country or who came to this country, and saying these are the founding fathers. So who you're seeing in the sky right there, I think I recognize a couple of those faces. I can't remember the name, but they were actually warriors that fought for their peoples as they were getting killed. And I think, so whose face should be there, because it was their land first, but they didn't get down like that. They would have never defaced that rock.
Right.
That's sacred to them.
Not yet, because what it was, what like this.
I said defaced it because you deface it by ruining its natural form. You know what I mean? And that's what they respected about the earth, period.
The arrogance of the forefathers. The arrogance of the forefathers.
Yeah, I need to put my face on this rock. Yeah.
So that's the you know what I mean. That's the you know what I mean. All right. So topic of the day. Does the end justify any means, right? We had a different way we were going to tackle this week, and I'm just going to give you guys a little background, because sometimes, we do our little pre-planning and stuff like that. But because the war just happened, we sort of derailed it. We derailed our topic from, the great Malcolm X. So we're going to give a shout out to Malcolm X. Shout out to Malcolm X, of course. We're going to get back to that topic with him next week, or maybe the following week. Who knows? Depending on what's going on in the world, right? Because the world sort of dictate what we're doing and how we're doing this. All right. Mm-hmm. So what I want right now is I want Joe to define the phrase for me. Define the phrase.
Okay, well, the end justifies the means is a phrase by a Russian, 19th century Russian revolutionary. It means that if a goal is morally important enough, any method of getting it is acceptable. So as we've been talking about the end, meaning the end game, meaning the final result, whatever we have to do to get the goal that we desire, anything, any method or anything that we have to do to get it is fine. So that's what the ends justifying the means pretty much encompasses.
All right. So we asked that. I asked that question to Joe, and I'm asking Zakaria right now. Does Russia have any justifiable means to do what they're doing?
I mean, I think there's no allotment of lands anymore. You know, that was your God-given right, or your father's father, you know, took it and passed it down, and now everybody's respecting boundaries. Nations have been conquering nations for centuries. So I mean, it's really about the strong survive, you know, and the strongest, the ruling empire is going to be the one taking over. So is it their right? Probably not. But in this world we live in, the strong take what they want. It's the law of the strong that prevails. But I also want to say this, the end justifying the means, right? The United States lives by that, you know. It depends on who we're talking about here. Are you fighting for something that's right? Are you fighting for something that's just? Or are you just want to take what you want so that you can rule, you know? And I think in this case, Russia is facing the same. That's what their intent is. But I think there's a bigger plan that we're ever going to learn on the news. Like you were talking about, it's about the nuclear the strontium, the cassium, and the plutonium, and those things that are being used to build these atomic bombs, because it's about power. And you know, they consider that making the land rich, whereas back in the days, if it had gold and silver and jewels, it was considered rich. You know, and then up and even until the days of the Afghanistan and the Persian Gulf War, it was oil, right, or heroin. Is what they didn't tell us about on the news.
So in a nutshell, you're basically saying that this has been happening for a long time. Like this is how our government's been giving it up for a long time.
Yeah. You know? Well, I mean, look at the whole Cold War. The Cold War was a war for 50 plus years where they were just building intelligence, knowledge, weapons in case something went down.
Yep.
In case.
Now I think they're trying to get their receipts now. You know, they're trying to cash in on their receipts.
The ends is always the ends always justify the means in their eyes, because it's all about the money, and it's always about the money to me, for them, right? It's all about, like I said, the elite, the haves, and the have-nots. Because at the end of the day, you sit there, and if you build tanks, and if you build weapons, and if you build missiles, and if you build guns, and all this other stuff, it has to be used somehow, some way, because you done gave out a budget to these military manufacturers, and they sitting home with the millions and millions of dollars of revenue, and you ain't got, and your stuff collecting dust in the ground.
But what is money to the elite? You know, they're really, it's the natural resources that they're controlling. Right. So when they're talking about taking these countries that have the natural resources that they need to build on their army of power, right? It's not about really the dollar. It's not about money. It's not about the banking system. The banking systems are to control us. Right. But what they go and they conquer is natural resources. Like pretty soon we're going to be paying to breathe air. You know what I mean?
They already started selling air in a can. So, I mean, like, it is actually a commodity now.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be charging that for insurance companies, going to be charging you to breathe.
Air, water.
But listen, like I said, that pandemic, maybe that was a trial run. Let me see how much respiratories we can get going on now.
Create a new commodity.
Listen, no. If you think about it, listen, who knew they was going to sell water, right? Remember, I grew up drinking tap water, brother. I ain't going to lie to you.
Right.
That's before it would kill you.
Yeah, right. And like, come on, man. Listen, the rabbit hole gets so much bigger, and easier to fall into nowadays. Like it used to be small, right? It used to be it used to be a rabbit hole. Now it's a whole crater that you could just listen. Ain't no way you can miss it because it's wild, right? So the hypocrisy of America, right? We spoke to that. I think Joe said something about it. I think you said something about the hypocrisy of America, right? So what we're going to do is I want to show two memes. I want to show the Biden. I want to show Joe Biden meme. It's not really a Joe Biden meme. It's really a phrase. Like he said something. If we could get that up there real quick, I'd be, because it's going to speak to something that Joe touched on earlier, and it's called the superhero complex, right? So watch this. America has issues at home with what? Homelessness. Name something. Name something at home that they have an issue with.
Failing education.
Okay, give me something. What we got problems at home?
Race, drugs.
Okay,
guns.
give me something, Zakaria. What else we got at home that we got problems with?
Failing education, no equal opportunity, poverty. Come on, man.
The list goes on, right? We could keep going, right?
I mean, they contaminate the food, the water. What else? I mean, come on.
Okay, but yet, hold on. Ukraine, I hear you. Across the seas, you're in trouble. So you know what happens? Here goes Super Joe. We can't get reparations. We can't get a bill passed. We can't get we can't get, we can't feel safe in our own country, but America stands up to the bullies. That is who we are. But
they are bullies.
Right. But yeah, because that's what it says it correctly. America stands up to bullies. That's who we are. Yeah, you're right. You are the bullies.
Bully. That's right.
You are the bullies. But guess what? You know what? I'm not even going to go there. I'm just trying to figure out, when is America going to stand up to the bullies that's bullying us here in the States?
That's the problem. They're the bullies.
The problem is, like you said, most of them are the bullies. So that's the bullies are the ones that are telling people we don't like bullies. Come on now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oxymoron.
That right. So that's the hypocrisy of America. Superhero complex. Remember, America has a superhero complex, and it's known throughout history. We're going to point that out after this meme, because there's another meme that we've seen. Bush. This is my guy, though. My man, this is my guy. Junior, this is my guy, though. I ain't going to
say he's my guy. He's gangster, but he's not my guy.
No, he's my guy, because I'm going to tell you why he's my guy. Anybody that can make you laugh the way he made me laugh for the 8 years he was president, man, listen, you are all right with me, because you are a pure comedian. That man said some zingers, man. Listen, he should have been a comedian, man, not the president.
His shows felt like we were watching a Chappelle show skit or something, for real. Like, man was like a comedy show.
So once again, for our Spotify people and all those on Radio Land, listen, this is a picture of my man, George Bush Jr., former President George Bush Jr. He says Russia's attack on Ukraine constitutes the gravest security crisis on the European continent since World War II. I join the international community in condemning Vladimir Putin's unprovoked and unjustified invasion of Ukraine. Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with the quote.
but wait, I do. What international community? International community? Y'all the only ones that have a problem with it. Ain't nobody else jumping in to go run over there and fight that battle.
NATO got to get down. Remember the UN, the NATO. Once America get down, the other people's got to get down, bro.
Listen, it ain't even as serious as all that. I take you back 20 years ago. Didn't he do the same thing to Afghanistan?
Wow.
Right.
Didn't he do the same thing that what doing right now?
What we didn't know is that the Bin Laden family was a multi-billion-dollar family that was actually doing business with the Bushes for over 20 years before all that happened. So we really don't know what these wars really be about.
Listen.
No, and listen. Some of these wars be really just like what's that called? Temper tantrums.
Yeah, and they be like, and it's an underlying like Godfather movie plot.
Because
it's a bunch of mafia stuff going on.
I got a question for you guys, right? And just something that came up. It has nothing to do with it. All right, because Trump and Vladimir
Putin.
Trump and Putin was cool. They seemed cool, what have you. You know what I mean? So does this defiance of America come in the sense of, okay, well, Trump ain't running this, so I could care less? Or did Trump give? I mean, did he give a few of the House secrets? I don't know.
No, the plan was for this all along, but that's why Trump had to get out,
right?
Because you're not going down with the agenda.
Because they knew if Trump.
I get what you're saying. You're saying that America been wanting to do this.
Yeah.
Trump
it's a time frame. It's a time frame.
So why not do? Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Trump wouldn't have done anything about it if Putin had did it during his term.
But that's my point.
Like you said, it's all part of the agenda. It's all part of the.
But why Putin wouldn't have done it during Trump's time then?
It wasn't the time for the agenda. There's a big agenda going on for the world, man. I'm trying to tell you, man, this new world order is a step by step. These people make plans 200 years in advance.
So
we thinking about what's going to happen in our lifetime. They thinking about what's going to happen in their children's lifetime.
So you say in Vietnam they was thinking about now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The agenda was already in place. The agenda was already in place. Why you think there's
What? Go ahead, Zakaria. I'm gonna let you continue.
Why you think we see just from our lifetime? Look at how we seen the turn of events, right? Where presidencies, their agenda. I mean, look at it now. You telling me when Reagan was president that the Star Wars program was built for then, like Joe was talking about? It wasn't for the Cold War. It was for years in the future.
Right.
Now, 40 years after Reagan, we could be in Star Wars right now.
No, well, no, they do have a program. They have the Star Wars program. They do. I mean, Trump.
Yeah. And you know what they call it today? You know what they're using it for today? It's called HAARP. HAARP. Look it up on the internet. They're using it for a whole bunch of other stuff.
And for anybody that's looking, because Zakaria is going to take y'all on the deep end of the pool, and we're not going to let him right now. But HAARP is about weather control.
That's right.
HAARP is about weather control, guys. So there's an idea out there in the world that the people of the world, the powers that be, can actually control the weather. I am leaning, I'll say percentages wise, I'm 50-50. You know what I mean? Zakaria is probably 100% on board that they're doing it.
I can't be 100, but I'm 90 something.
Joe, I don't know. What's your percentages on the HAARP?
Well, I look at global warming now, and I have to go with what's happening. I mean, you look at the weather. It was almost 70 degrees in New York yesterday. 70.
Oh, it was hot.
And now we're gonna get a snowstorm tomorrow, and it was 35 degrees today.
But you think that's because someone wants it that way, or did they tamper with things so much that things is haywire?
Yeah.
I used to always say that. I used to always think that there was somebody that had the button to just press and say, "Let's do this here, let's do this there," wherever region.
I do believe that in the sense of earthquakes. I believe that in the sense of earthquakes. I believe that in the sense of tsunamis and the such. When you see all those,
I mean, the stuff that we don't get to see on the news, like an entire beach washing up with fish and dolphins and whales. You know what I mean? And then there's footage that there's beams coming out the sky into the ocean and they're coming up burnt. How you get burnt underwater? How do fish and the dolphins get burnt underwater?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Let's get
back on topic.
No, everything is fine because we're just talking about current events. We're talking about different things that's going on. And that says that where's accountability for us as humans and the way we treat the planet, we contribute to the mess. Yes, we do.
Right.
And it's because, like I said, we're so geared in trying to have the next best thing happen. And the Industrial Revolution was one of the best things and the worst things that probably could have happened to us because everything happened so fast. You know what I mean? Slavery also, and that's the negative side of slavery is because you got all of this free labor and then all of a sudden everything just shot off. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So when everything was supposed to take its time, you know what I mean? We were supposed to learn all of these different things, engineering. We were supposed to learn everything that we did faster, but it was supposed to be in its time. You know what I mean? Right. When you got so much free labor, of course you could sit there and think about anything, right?
The first technology was mechanical,
right?
And that's what sparked it. We didn't think about the outcome till later, when people start dying and catching cancer.
So,
that's right.
back to because it really, the topic of the day is, does the end justify the means? And we speaking on all of this stuff. Does their superhero complex justify what they've done? We talk about the different wars. Joe, tell me the different wars you could think of, the superhero complex popping up. What is the situation?
Korea, Vietnam. Oh gosh, Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the Afghani war. All these wars were based on us being the superpower. We want to flex our muscles, as you said earlier, and show people that we're dominant. And the biggest way for the world to know that what we are, not the people that are here, but the world. And if the world thinks of us one way, who really cares what the people inside the world, as long as we have everybody's attention and say that this is who we are, this is what we always do. But like you said, we have so many wars here. We have race wars. We have wars on drugs. We have wars on education, wars on mental health. So much internal war, reparations. And none of that stuff is being absolved. And like you mentioned earlier, we get pushed to back to the back of the line again. It's after every war.
Right. So there's a question that was presented. It says, so what prevents a host of countries, right? So it's like, because we're back to it all. It's like, because it's like the end of me. All right, because it's like, okay, they just end Russia, so it should be justifiable, right? It's just like, we're going to end this, we're going to stop this from happening. So it said, what prevents a host of countries from collectively pushing back against Russia's actions? As powerful as they may be, they can't possibly simultaneously beat everybody.
No, but I mean, so this obviously, like you said, the UN gets involved, NATO, and
But they don't care. They don't care, Zakaria. Obviously,
no.
They know all of these things is in place already.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's an agenda. Tell me why there's a why China has set up military camps in Venezuela. There's things that we don't see on regular news. So, like I said, Russia is not that man. He's called Russia the bear. The hibernating bear for years.
Yeah.
You don't want to go up against this country, man, that has some of the most advanced technology for war. That's the way they think. They are warriors.
And some tough-skinned people.
Yeah, exactly. They're some of the most roughest people. Exactly. But I mean, it's something that at the end of the day, we have to. A lot of people say us. I don't say us. I don't say we. I say they, because I don't think America's the good guy, man. And I rock with the good guy. And a lot of times the good guy's the underdog. You know what I mean? Most of the time, the good guys are underdog.
Again, this is why it's like the question. The question makes sense. The end justify the means. So, because like you're saying, you don't think America is the good guy. So, who is the good guy? Is it Russia? Is it America? Is it Ukraine? What, because some got to give, right?
Well,
who the good? Go ahead, Joe.
In my personal opinion, the good guy are the people that are being the victims, the innocent. They are the ones that are good guys, because
we are the good guys.
Right. Like, this is not our fight. We have nothing invested in this. Not one way or the other.
We do nothing to the Viet Cong.
There's people in the Russian streets right now that are protesting this war the same way America protested Vietnam.
Saying no war, because this is not their fight. Like, why is this such an importance?
Those are the good guys.
It's not something that's going to unite the country.
Those are the good guys. I get what Joe is saying. Innocent. I mean, Jada says innocent based on what? On whose judgment? But the innocent meaning the people that don't have a stake in whether the countries go to war or not, right?
Right.
So the people that are not in power are usually the good guys. And not always on a personal level, but you want to put us in comparison to the empires or governments. You know what I mean?
I get her statement, and I get your statement right back. And Sean is here. He said we need to mind our business. Yeah, America. Listen, you know what's funny about that, right? And I say this, right? To what extent? Because at the end of the day, this world is based on conquering. It's based on conquering, right? Yeah. So why would I want my country to all of a sudden be a passive country, and then all of a sudden other people want to start conquering us? I mean, I don't know. It's such a catch-22 if you ask me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's
You don't
narcissism.
want them to be weak.
It's an ego.
Yeah.
The only way you stay relevant is through power nowadays. The only way you stay relevant is by being known. And you got to be relevant in that sense. And that's what this country and other countries that want to help do.
Yeah.
They show their relevance. In case stuff goes down where there's a break between the worlds, we want to have allies. We want to build allies. We want to build.
So what my point still holds true.
And I'm speaking to America.
Let's look at
still holds true. Do we want America to be weak at any point? Like as much as we want America to face their issues when it comes down to race, when it comes down to the systemic oppression, when it comes down to the lack of education, when it comes down to all of the different things domestically that we have to deal with, do we want them looking weak internationally?
No, but the thing is, okay, so like if it's not your fight or you're not being threatened, why do you like a lion don't turn his head at a barking dog? Because if you powerful, you don't have to go around flaunting your power and punking everybody. That just proves that America is the real bully. And if the bully's going around bullying people and then saying, "Hey, you can't bully him because I'm ready to bully him when I get ready," leave him alone.
But you're only as powerful as the resources you got. America itself is not rich in resources.
But that's what I was saying earlier.
Allies, you're building people that you know you're going to need in the future. So you want to show some type of unity. And
that's why they invited Ukraine all them years ago. Ukraine turned it down, being and now so maybe that's it.
There you go. You just figured it out right there. Because now, maybe they're in cahoots to put them and threaten them and say, all right, well, now we're going to get you to accept on our offer. Hey, make you an offer you can't refuse.
All big business.
And the writer wrote in and said, "Is minding our business indicative of weakness?" No. Yes and no. To me, minding our business is not indicative of weakness, because I think that's correct. I mean, minding our business is not indicative of weakness. What I say is indicative of weakness is not having a bead on things, not having a pulse on things. You know what I mean? Like, I think that we have to pay attention to what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? If we're not in cahoots with it, like you say, Zakaria said we in cahoots.
I mean, all of a sudden, the United States act like they care about what the people think, so they lie to us on media. I mean, just call a spade a spade. Just say, look, man, we want to go invade this country because we want to take their uranium. We want to take their plutonium because we want to be the most powerful country. Nobody's going to have a problem with that. They might be able to protest, but you can't stop it.
Remember, we're losing ground on being that, right? So, I mean, like, why not keep trying to be the most powerful, right? We're losing ground.
Hold on.
I want to address one of the readers real quick. It said Ukraine people actually want Russia to take over. That is incorrect, sir. What it really is it's like an East Coast, West Coast battle. It's just like over here, right?
Wow.
All right. So it's the East Coast, West Coast thing. And the East side actually rocks with Russia. And when you look at how small that portion of the East side is, trust me, not a lot of Ukrainians mess with Russia. It's just actually like a little smidget of it that actually speaks Russian still. They really rock with Russian ideology, like real hard body. But the Ukrainians don't want nothing to do with Russia. It's just like the East Coast, West Coast, and it's no Midwest. It's no mid nothing. It's no middle. It's just one side to the other, and the East side does not rock. So there's that. But like you said, the end of the day is about the money. And guys, that was a lot, man. We unfolded a lot. It's a lot to think about what's happening and what's going on. And I'm just going to pray for my brother Zakaria and his family, and for Joe and his family. That includes me. So I'm only praying for myself by praying for you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Pray for you guys. I'm praying for myself, right? I'm praying for your family. I'm praying for myself. Think about it, self-serving, right? My last thing is the message in all of this. That's the saddest part about it, is that the Black agenda in America gets put to the back burner once again because America wants to assist in international affairs.
I mean, what else is new? But that's always been the agenda, is to push the black agenda to the back burner. You know, so even though something good happens, even though you have someone fighting the good fight, at the end of the day, this is nothing new that we're talking about. You know, you're gonna be fighting for the rest of our days.
What would be new then? What would be new? What would be new? What would be new?
What would be new is
let me start with Joe. Joe, what would be new? What would be new, Joe? What would be new?
What would be new in the terms of what's happening right now? I mean, it just goes to show that this is how America thinks of us. If they're looking at other people outside of the country that they have no control over, no power over, as more important than the people that are in that country that actually contribute more than they do, that's a sad state for this world.
More than they have in the history of this country being the country. Zakaria, what you talk to me, brother?
Well, as much as we see the problems that going on, like in our own backyard, they don't see it as that, because they keep everything in disarray. That's how they maintain the control. So they can look outside to other countries to go and take resources, and we're supposed to keep fighting amongst ourselves.
But that chicken is coming home to roost, because I think they are the biggest reason why their mental health is unstable right now.
I mean, see that what they don't understand is that when the head is sick, the whole body is sick, or when an organ is sick, it affects the head, right? So what they don't understand is that. So instead of taking care of their people, you know, they keep us fighting against ourselves for control purposes, and then they want to go out and start world wars, and they don't realize it's going to be the beginning of their own demise.
Right, because because I think it's gonna be a lot more people sitting there saying, "I'm gonna go jail. I'm gonna go ahead, go jail. I'm gonna go sit this one out." You know what I mean? And I know a few of them young men these young men is not going to nobody war these days. I don't see it. No. I do not see it. I do not see this generation doing that.
And that could lead to a nuclear war.
That's right.
Yeah, man. All this is scary, man, because, you know, one day we just don't wake up, right? We just see each other wherever the next stop is, right, guys? You know what I mean? And, you know, listen. And then all that being said, man, we're going to close this out. You know, it's kind of bittersweet to close it out with those thoughts, man, because it's crazy out here right now, man. And I just pray for us all. Like the brother said, we don't need a world war. No, we don't. You know what I'm saying? And I got a question for you guys, man. If you had to fight, would you fight?
Absolutely.
Nope.
Not.
Unless it's on our soil and I got to protect my family.
Right. If it benefits me, I will fight.
And with that being said, you were plugged in with Mahli and Joe, the Mental Warriors, with our brother Zakaria. Man, it was a wonderful show. I enjoyed myself. Not really enjoyed myself because we're talking about a war that we don't want to have, but as usual, you guys opened up my mind to some things that, you
Same
know,
here.
I probably didn't even think about when it came down to this, and it's probably going to have me a drink after this. All right, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna join you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have me a drink after this, man. Yo, Joe, man, let's link up, man. You heard?
Yeah, we had it. We got some business to talk about. We got some business.
All right, brother. All right, Zakaria.
All right.
See you soon, man. I'm coming to Cali, man. I'm coming to Cali. All right.
All right. I'm coming to New York for the end of the year.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll see we'll see. We'll race and see who'll get there first.
All right. There you go. Just don't come over here when I'm going over there.
Right.
Right. That would be not good.
Peace. All right.